Welcome to Portsmouth this week. I'm Jeff Richard, and I'll be your host today. And with me today is Tim Dunbar, who is the managing director, if you would, for our town beach, which is Sandy Point. So we're going to learn from Tim exactly what it is that we have to offer everybody in our town. So let me start right away and say, can you just tell us generally, Tim, about Sandy Point Beach and when is it open, what services are there, and what are the rules to get on board?
Sure. Sandy Point Beach is open from 9 o'clock to 4:30 every single day. We have bathrooms and showers available. There's also a concession stand, and there's a lifeguarded area, and that staff is down the beach from 9 to 4:30 as well.
When does the summer season start down there for you?
We usually try to open just for the weekends sometime around May, the middle of May. And then once the kids get out of school, we'll go full-time every day until Labor Day in September.
Very good. The swimming down there is a little different than the image you get from First and Second Beach, where you occasionally look out and find people on surfboards and all. Our beach is in the Secana. It's relatively quiet most of the time. We talk about sailing down there in a minute, but is that impacts on who's interested in going down there?
Absolutely. Without having the waves or a lot of the other things that some of the bigger beaches in Newport have, I think Sandy Point is considered a beach for the family, a beach for small children. It's safe, it's clean, and I think that's what the residents are interested in.
Does DEM go down there and test the water like
the
everybody
DEM
else?
comes down weekly to test the water, and then monthly to check on the beach itself through lifeguard certifications and things of that nature.
Okay. So are you responsible for hiring the lifeguards?
Yes.
And where do you get them?
Everywhere, mostly from Portsmouth, but I have a couple from Tiverton, a couple from Westport, a couple from Middletown. It's just where we can find the best people and the people who are certified.
Okay. What does it take to get certified to be a lifeguard these days?
To be a lifeguard, it's usually a 45 hour course through your local YMCA. And then on top of that, you would have to get certified through the state. Our lifeguards go down to Charleston, Rhode Island, and take the state-approved test down at that beach, and then they're certified for the summer.
That seems like a very laborious process. Or do you find a lot of teenage folk are interested in doing that?
No, and that's the difficulty. It's difficult to find people who have already done the training, who are willing to go that extra mile. I think maybe lifeguarding was a bit more glamorous 10, 20 years ago, but we get by.
How many do you actually employ in the course of the summer?
We'd like to have around 10 lifeguards down there, 9 lifeguards down there. They'll usually work 4 or 5 days a week, and then we're open 7 days a week, so that pretty much fills up the schedule.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's a good time to talk about this thing. It made the news that Augusta wind came up, and so down at the beach, besides swimming, we can learn how to sail.
Correct.
Can you talk a little bit about that program, and is that
Sure.
Is that yours, or is that some other agency's program?
Well, Sandy Point is actually run by Portsmouth Action for Youth, and the sailing program used to be part of Portsmouth Action for Youth a few years back, but now they're their own separate nonprofit entity. They've been down there for 4 or 5 years, offering sailing lessons to all ages and all levels of skill, and it's been a pretty good program. I mean, we see a lot of turnout, especially from the residents with that.
Is no conflict in launching sailboats as opposed to the swimming in the beach?
No, the sailing people are usually pretty good about staying to their area, and there's been no issues. I mean, there's a lot of beach down there, so we can all share and sure.
Well, while we're talking about it, how about just a little bit about the incident that happened the other day about the young class at sea, and the wind came up and did something terrible and knocked them all over, and
well, I think
they were all rescued.
Yeah, they were all set, and I think parents were concerned a little bit about that. At least that's what I've heard down the beach. Yeah. I think the first time that you have kids in the water, the first time that you have kids on a sailboat, and with a high wind, I think there's going to be some issues. But I think the sailing people had it well in hand. They have a couple of speed little motorboats down there that they go after the kids with. But I mean, I think that's going to happen. The first, like when you ride a bike, you're going to fall or anything else. I think that's normal to expect a little bit.
So, but all's well that ends well. So they got some extra swim time. It says
Right,
sailing
absolutely.
time. But I guess yesterday when I was down visiting the beach, I noticed that the sailing class was all in session and things were marching off like they always had. It didn't slow anything down.
No, the sailing people have one class from 9 to 12 and then another from 1 to 4, which is pretty much our complete open hours, and everything pretty much goes down without incident.
Yeah, I did go to our town website to see what I could find for activities down there, and yes, the Portsmouth Youth Sailing was, you could get into that from the town website, and it looked like it's $150 a week to put a child between the ages of 6 and 9 or 10.
Well, because we're no longer connected to the sailing people, I couldn't give you the exact numbers, but they do have different price ranges for different abilities, different ages, and they have their own website as well, I think, so you could certainly contact them to get specific quotes.
Who is in charge of that? If it's not Portsmouth Action Youth, it's an entirely different group of people?
Yes, and they have their own board. I'm trying to think of now that I'm on camera, the gentleman's name escapes me, but Tom Kirk is one of the folks who is in charge of the sailing program.
Very good. What does it, if you're not a resident, well, let's talk to us about access to the beach.
Sure.
Resident, non-resident.
Residents usually will have, they're easy to tell because they'll have the dump sticker, most of them, with the big 2012, just like my car.
Yep.
And we just wave them right in. Or some of them will have a Sandy Point Beach sticker. If not, we offer residents the opportunity to show us their license to get free entry.
Okay.
Other than that, people are treated as non-residents, where they would have to pay $7 during the week or $12 on the weekends.
That's per car?
Per car, yes.
Okay. And how much does that actually come to in terms of revenue?
Typically,
what do you
without
expect to make?
Sure. Typically, without having the numbers in front of me, we've made between maybe $5,000 and $6,000 during the course of the summer.
Okay.
The beach is widely used mostly by residents, so we can expect on any given day that 85–90% of the people down there are indeed residents. And then we'll get a few people from the Tiverton area, Middletown. Usually we'll get some overflow from some of the bigger beaches when they filled up.
Yeah. So we can't really tell a difference. If you go into town hall and get a compactor sticker and pay your
$125, I think it is now.
We don't know what the how to split that as to how much access to the compactor versus how much time people spend on our beach down there.
Correct.
Is that system under review?
I think in the future, I think maybe for next year, Mr. Klimm was looking at the opportunity or the possibility rather of having the residents pay some kind of fee to access the beach. Mm-hmm. And I think that's currently, those talks are just beginning now.
Yeah, because I think of all your personnel costs, that $6,000 that you might make from non-residents wouldn't seem to come close to. What's your actual budget?
The actual budget is about $58,000, $57,000.
Yeah, okay.
So certainly no. The receipts, the money that we draw in is nowhere near what we expend. And I can't, for the last 10 years or so at least, we have not gotten close. So that's why we use the town money to supplement.
Has there ever been a capital improvement plan or budget associated with the beach since you've been down there now for
many
11 years?
Yes.
Did you started when you were what, 6? You know?
Right.
But you were a lifeguard down there yourself?
I started down there when I was 13, 14, and I was the gate attendant. I was excited back then because I was so young, and it was $3.35 an hour, and I thought that was the greatest thing ever. Yep. I did that job for 6 or 7 years, and then lifeguarded for a few years, and for about the last 10 or 11, I've run the beach.
Okay. So, but your real job, you're a school teacher.
Correct.
Yes. Where do you teach?
I teach I live in Portsmouth, but I teach down in Fall River at Durfee High School.
Very good. What do you teach?
Math.
Fantastic. So this is a great summer job for you.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? Well, when do you take vacation? You don't?
No, not too many vacations.
My daughter
I'm afraid.
Becky is in her 11th year of teaching, and the summer is either you take classes yourself or you try to get some vacation away from the kids. But you don't get a chance to do that.
Well, it's always a nice switch. I find at the end of the school year, I'm always excited to get down to the beach, and at the end of the beach season, I'm always excited to get back to school.
Back to school.
Absolutely.
The notion of concessions down there, I know that, and I get excited hearing the WADK's publicity about going to Easton's Beach and getting a double lobster roll for 11 something. What about eating? When a whole pile of family come down to the beach, is there a concession stand where people can reasonably expect to buy a hot dog or some soda?
Sure. This year, the town actually put out to bid the contract for the exclusive use of the beach, and a vendor did purchase those rights, and you can get. She has a small menu of hot dogs, soda, candy, chips. Anything you can get, and she's located right at the beginning of the path down at Sandy Point Beach. She has a mobile unit, and people can just go right on up and get what they need.
Yeah, when I snuck down to check it out, she wasn't there yesterday, so I must have just missed her. Huh?
Well, I think it's very weather dependent as well.
Absolutely. But you say she's under contract. In other words, she's paid the town a
Correct.
Fixed fee to access it exclusively?
Yes.
Very good. So how long has that actually been going on then?
That's only a few weeks.
Okay, so you didn't do that last year?
No, what we experimented a little bit with last year and years before that were just having, paying someone to, sell water and soda and things of that nature. And some days it was fine, and on, bad weather days, obviously, we wouldn't be making any millions down there or anything, so.
Showers and restroom facilities are present?
Yes, present. They're cleaned 4 times a day. We really try to keep them impeccable as much as they can for a public restroom. And they have hot water as well, which a lot of people are excited about. And I think that's about it.
What time do you lock the doors on those?
4:30. The lifeguards will usually come up from the beach at about 4:20ish. And then it'll take us about 10 minutes to put all the materials and stuff away, and then we'll start clearing out and cleaning up the bathrooms for the night.
This is sort of an associated point, but down at Macquarie Point, we're very close to my home. Occasionally, fishing people go down there and use that beach, and they have campfires, and a lot of things happen at night on our beaches. Does that happen down at Sandy Point?
Sure. I mean,
People fish off?
People do fish. We have our exclusive lifeguard area, and we don't let fishing or dogs in that area. Animals and fishing have to be outside the lifeguard area, so they're away from the swimmers and all of that. I mean, we'll come down at night sometime. We'll come down in the morning and notice that maybe there were some beer bottles or something might be disturbed from the night before. But that's what we do in the morning. Usually about 8:30 to 9:30 is just spend that hour cleaning up and making sure everything's the way it should be.
But how many cars can you park in the parking lot there?
We get creative, and I think we can probably go between 100, 150.
Have you ever done anything down there that was a special event, maybe a nighttime event or some kind of an early morning event or business day at the beach? That kind of, the Economic Development Committee might be asking, what can we do to increase the revenue from our town beach? And you would say?
Rarely in the past, there's been some church functions, some like minor wedding functions. We've had regatta boat races down there every summer. And camps will make use of the beach. Portsmouth Action for Youth on Wednesdays comes down every Wednesday, about 30, 35 kids, and makes use of the facilities down there. That's basically what you would see.
What are
normally.
They doing down there?
Portsmouth Action for Youth runs a kind of daycare facility during the summer, a summer camp, and Wednesdays are the day that they come down to the beach.
This is after 4:30?
No, this is during the day.
Oh, during the day. Okay.
Yep, during the day.
So if anybody in the town wanted to drive down and after 4:30, the lifeguards are off duty, there's no gate preventing them from parking. They could park there and go out and walk around the beach.
Correct.
Enjoy the moment.
Yes.
Very good. If you had your top 5 things that you'd really like to do to adjust the way we currently do business down there, anything you wanted to do, what do you think the potential is for doing something different?
I would love to see maybe some playground equipment put down there. I think it was a big advantage when we put down the wooden boardwalk. I'm not sure if you've...
Yes, yeah, I did walk down there yesterday.
Parents love that, especially the moms with the strollers and everything. And I think that was a good step in the right direction.
It also makes it accessible for a handicap if you were on a...
Yes, and while you're on that topic also, we do have a handicapped beach chair that is available for folks. The Elks Lodge donated it to us, I would say about 8-10 years ago, but it's very seldom used, and I don't know if everybody is aware that we do have it available if they need it.
Well, maybe everybody who's watching our program today will pick up on that.
Absolutely.
I did notice that the access to the beach proper when the walkway is tremendous for children without, walking through sawgrass without flip-flops on. Yeah, it was very convenient that was there. So, where would you put an activity area for kids?
I think we might put that. We'd have to have a secure area off to the side in the parking lot that would have to be it would have to be carefully as to not present any danger to the children. I mean, I think there's some room over on the side. If you come in at the front of the beach, maybe over on the right-hand side area, you could put some playground material or something to that effect that might make the beach a little more interesting.
Yeah. What's the last time you had a conversation with a parent saying something about how they were enjoying or not enjoying the beach? What did that parent talk to you about?
It was actually yesterday. I was on the lifeguard stand the day before with one of my lifeguards, and we noticed a little toddler, maybe about 2 or 3 years old, was drifting away from his family.
I see.
And we were keeping an eye on him, and he continued to drift. And about 3 or 4 minutes after that, he was well down the other side of the beach. So we went over to the parent and said, "Look, the parent had lost track as well." Yeah. We said, "Look, I don't know if you realize your son is down there," and she went down and got him and was very thankful. Actually came up to me yesterday and said, "Thank you, you and the lifeguard for, keeping an eye, and, if somebody wasn't paying attention, something certainly bad could have happened." So, right.
I got you. What would be the second thing that you'd like to add or change down there?
I'd like to eventually, right now what we do is, obviously Sandy Point is a little rocky in spots. We currently hire someone to come down and rake the beach, and I'd like to eventually explore the idea of having them come down either more often or perhaps purchasing or renting a vehicle for that ourselves. I think that would improve beach quality as well.
Yeah, so from where the current lifeguard's attention span is, if you go around the corner heading south, I guess, it's all rock.
Right.
Right. I wonder if that was ever beach.
I think it was many years ago, but I think...
It's very similar to Macquarie, where one side was a beach. Actually, a lot of people swam there, and the other side was a rock quarry. I mean, it was just all rocks.
Right.
Still is, all rocks. But I think maybe Sandy Point has got the same kind of geography.
Well, we're very meticulous, too, in the morning. The lifeguards will rake the area of the beach that we lifeguard, clean it up, get the seaweed out of there. But certainly we don't have the manpower or the time to do the entire beach and to get that level of the rocks out of there on that far right south side. That would be problematic. But we try to groom and keep certainly, and it's about a 500-foot span that we lifeguard. We try to keep that area nice.
What's in place to, let's say that there's some really terrible weather coming, there's a thunderstorm that's approaching, you didn't know that the beach is full. What do you do? How do you inform everybody that it's time to concern themselves with a natural disaster impending?
Well, certainly.
You have horns?
Yeah, we have air horns. We have emergency action plans. We have all that stuff. We have to have it by the DEM that comes down to inspect us and will ask us about those things as well, like you just did. Usually on a day where there's lightning or thunder to begin with, the beach won't be too many folks down there, and we'll just physically go and talk to people and say, look, and if we close down the beach because of inclement weather, we'll also tell them that we're closing and that the bathrooms are closing and things of that nature.
Very good. What is the average age of your current lifeguard community?
Average age is probably about 18. Lifeguards in the state of Rhode Island have to be 16 to be a lifeguard, but I do have a couple that are 20.
So these are competent people. I guess
competent people and people that have been, for the most part, with me for a couple of years. And it's nice to have people that you can rely on. And for instance, I know right now that everything is going well down there.
You have a deputy?
Yes, I have a deputy, so I know that's
okay.
Everything's well in hand.
Very good. So when it comes time for budget submission, are you the agent then who considers how much we're going to have and where it's going to go, so you draw the lines and hand them to?
Yes.
Does that go through Portsmouth Action Youth, or does that go straight to the town administrator?
It will go through Portsmouth Action for Youth. The executive director and I will sit down and talk about it, usually briefly, because I've done this for a number of years now and I understand the mechanics of the beach. And then we send it directly to the town administrator.
Yeah. How? What is the process that you actually use to select your lifeguards?
Well, it depends on the number of openings that we have. Occasionally we'll have an opening or two because a student will stay with us until they finish college. And then when they go to college, they're getting a real job and out in the real world. And then they'll say, well, look, Tim, it's been great, but I'm going out to do my real stuff. Usually we talk to Mr. Littlefield at the high school. He's our first outlet for finding folks. And then there's ads in the newspaper and things of that nature. I'll bring a candidate down to the beach for an interview, and then we'll go from there. And once they've met
in your budget submission, then you've got a line that there's some cost associated with finding lifeguards.
Right, a little bit with finding, and as I had said earlier, most of our budget is basically for the lifeguards to have them down there.
If Portsmouth Action Youth is not is under license or contract to the town, because we, as everybody knows, we do not have a Parks and Recreation and Arts department, nor a director of same. So we have evolved a system of small groups of people deciding on what they're interested in and going about doing it and answering principally through the town administrator without a director. So you report to the director of Portsmouth Action Youth, who is not a town employee. So that person reports to the town administrator as a contracting agency, I would guess.
I would have to have you contact them.
In other words, if the town administrator came down to the beach and said, "Excuse me, Mr. Dunbar, I would like you to attend to this." He's really not in your chain of command at that moment in time.
Well, I would say yes, he is, because he's always, even Mr. Driscoll for many years had always, we've had close contact on operations of the beach, and certainly I talk to Mr. Klimm almost daily about beach function. So in a way, I think I answer to him more often.
Interesting. So we have, who, just got a few more minutes to talk about this thing.
Sure.
Who collects the trash down there at the?
DPW comes down every Monday and Friday to pick up the trash. And if it was a big weekend, or if there was we anticipate a large crowd for the 4th of July. I certainly paid my $125 for my dump sticker, and I will occasionally bring bags from the beach down to the compactor myself if it gets too much. We take care of that.
DPW does the same thing down at Macquarie. In the summertime, they put several barrels out. In the wintertime, I have one. I go down with a friend and clean the beach in the winter season on a Monday, and there's always one barrel down there. So the DPW does a good job. So if you find something that is really beyond your capability to deal with, and you need some help, you can call Mr. Kiyu and DPW. And
Brian and Dave have always been fabulous about attending to anything that we need. Absolutely.
Very good. What's the third thing? Now I'm making it hard on you. Now the third thing that if you had your dream was to do what down there? I'd
like to get more programs, different programs. I mean, we have the sailing program. I'm currently trying to get some other programs back, just some general swimming lessons, things of that nature, but on a larger scale. Back to the playground pieces and things like that. I think it would be great if we could have some kind of basketball court even down there. Or if we could make the space, we could do a lot more with the beach.
Make the space would have to take a lot of those rocks away.
That's right.
To recover the... must be a market for rocks, though.
Well, if we can ever find a way, right, to sell them, I think we'll have no budget issues.
Engraved rocks from Sandy Point Beach. That would be great. All right, if there were room to do that, what would be the mechanism for taking some of the ideas that you've just talked about and bringing them up so that the town council could make a decision? Yeah, sure, we'd love to do that.
Well, I think those conversations start, and I've started to have them with the town administrator, and I think we move on from there.
Yeah. So you have submitted a budget for. No, perhaps you haven't. The budget that you're operating on right now is what you prepared last year.
Well, correct, up until a few more days, because I have the budget that when the physical year changes. Correct, July 1st. Then we'll be on the new budget and working through that.
If you were wishing to tell the viewing audience one special thing about that beach down there that's really would intrigue them, what would that be?
I think the people down at Sandy Point Beach, the residents who use it, enjoy the cleanness of the beach. They enjoy the safety. I think it's very, very well used by residents with small children. And I think they know that it's a safe place. And I would encourage folks who haven't been to Sandy Point to come down and to give it a look. And certainly to, if there are any questions or concerns, to direct them to me.
Are you down there principally most of the day? Or?
Yeah, about 95% of the day. People can find me all over the place. I'm at the gate, I'm down on the lifeguard stand.
But you don't have an office down there, do you?
No office per se. We have little tiny rooms.
I'm surprised you didn't mention that. It would be your fifth suggestion.
Well, that could be something for the 5-year development plan. Yes, of course. That's
right. Has Mr. Klimm asked you for a 5-year development plan? Well, capital improvement plan, I think is what he calls it.
What we did add to his existing plan was, I'm not sure if you've been able to take a look at the bathhouse, but it is in need of some repair. The roof has some issues. And that's the one big thing. That would probably be on my top list of 5 as well, to get that cleaned up.
Very good. So how long do you anticipate doing this? Is this going to be your summer job for...
Probably not much longer. I'm looking at becoming a principal in the near future, and I think once I move on to that I might have to say goodbye to Sandy Point, perhaps.
Yes. Different world, principals and teaching.
Yes.
So. Well, we have only one more minute of our program, and we're wondering what's going to be anything special going on next week in your world?
It'll be interesting to see. Usually the 4th of July, if the weather holds, will be our biggest day of the season. So we're staffing extra and making sure that we have all those preparations made.
Yep. Keeping the fireworks off the beach too.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, thank you very much. Really enjoyed having your conversation, and thank you all for watching Portsmouth This Week, and we are sort of the voice of the town hall.
In 2012, Rhode Island's new voter ID law will go into effect. You're going to need to bring with you identification when you go to the polls to vote. A Rhode Island driver's license, a Rhode Island ID, a student ID, or any state or federal government issued identification card with a photo on it is sufficient to vote. If you do not possess one of those forms of identification, we will provide one to you for free for voting purposes only. For details, please call us at 222-2340.